I'm Alex Summersby. In this video tutorial, I'll show you how to create this HDR style black and white image. It's a two-stage project. We'll start by creating our HDR effect using the new Photo Merge Exposure feature in Photoshop Elements 8. We'll then convert the image to mono and add various finishing touches like a touch of dodging and burning, a bit of film grain, and this vignette effect around the edges of the image. You'll find a set of images to use for this project on your digital camera magazine cover disc. So start by going to the Open command in Elements 8 and select all of the source images. They're all DNGs or digital negative files, so they'll open in the Adobe Camera Raw editor in film strip mode. You'll see in the film strip down the left-hand side here that what we've done is shoot a range of exposures of the same scene, ranging from a very overexposed image to a rather underexposed one. Now, ACR is designed for correcting images' exposure, lighting, white balance, colour. But in this case we want that range of different exposures for our HDR effect. You could, if you want, make some adjustments to the image's white balance in ACR, but for our purposes we're going to just open them into Photoshop Elements. So click the Select All button at the top of the film strip down the left-hand side, and then click Open Images. ACR will process the images, or in this case just open them into the Elements interface. This may take a little while. Okay, we've opened our set of exposures in Elements 8. You'll see them in the project bin down the bottom of the screen here. They range from this very overexposed version, which has captured detail in the darkest, most deeply shadowed parts of the image, through to this very underexposed version, which has captured information in the most brightly lit areas, which in a normal exposure would be completely blown out. So what we're going to do is combine these different exposures into a single well-exposed image. And to do that, we'll go to File, New, Photo Merge Exposure. The Photo Merge Exposure command is new in Elements 8. It's not quite the same as Photoshop's Merge to HDR. This, for instance, doesn't create genuine 32-bit HDR images. But the end results it produces are comparable to those you get at the very end of Photoshop's Merge to HDR process. So this is now comparing the different exposures and produces quite a reasonable blend of all those different shots. In the Photo Merge Exposure tab, you have a choice of automatic or manual modes. For an image like this, manual is a complete waste of time. The kind of shot it might be useful for is if you have a definable area of one shot that you want to blend into another. Say, a flash-lit version of a portrait that you want to blend into one where the background is properly lit. But for this shot, we'll stick with automatic. Under the Automatic tab, you have a choice of Simple Blending, which produces its result automatically, and Smart Blending, which gives you these sliders for fine-tuning the result. Now you can, if you want, bump up the highlight detail by moving the highlight detail slider to the right, and then also deepen the shadows by moving the shadows slider to the left, and that will produce the kind of high contrast, almost embossed type of look that you often associate with HDR. For this image, though, we're going to stick with something close to the default settings. The other thing you can do in Photo Merge Exposure is remove one or more of the images from the final mix. In this case, we have a lot of shots towards the overexposed end of the spectrum, and if we remove one or two of those, we find that the final image actually gains a little bit more definition. So that's something like the result I want. You can test what it'll look like as a mono image by dragging the saturation slider right down to -100. In our case though, we're going to use a more controllable method for desaturating our image, so we'll restore that to about the default 0 and click Done. Photo Merge Exposure will now process the image and produce our final exposure. This can take a little while, so go and make a cup of tea and join us back here for part 2.